Hi guys, I'm Darren, and in this video I'm going to show you how to move models from one ETHOS transmitter to another. I'm going to recommend you do this first step first. Now let's go into the system menu, let's go across and choose info. Now you'll see up here we have our firmware version number. You see this radio here, which I'm actually going to copy the models onto, is on 1.4.11. You can see that this radio here that I'm copying the models from is on 1.4.9. The first thing that I'm going to do is update the firmware on this radio so that it's the same as on this radio. Now really, they should both be on the same firmware, but I've been slacking with this one. This is on the latest. So I'm going to update this to the latest firmware. If this was on an older firmware, I'd update them both to the latest at the same time. If you don't know how to update the firmware, I'll leave a link in the video description and probably pop something up in that top corner. For a while now, you just use ETHOS Suite. It's a really quick, painless process. So I'll be back shortly once I've updated this radio. So there we go. I've done the update. We're on the same version number. Notice this radio is on Flex. This one's on EU. Don't worry about that. Now, let's find out where you store your models. So I'll show you on this radio. If we pop into General, and if we go down, you'll see storage locations, and the top one is models. Now you can see on here, it's stored on the radio, and there actually isn't an SD card in this radio, so that's why it's not working. But because we're going to be storing the models on the radio on here, and on this one, they're on the SD card because there is no NAND storage in the radio. Right, we're going to be using our computer, and what we're going to do is plug both the radios into the computer at the same time, and then we're just going to copy stuff across. This is probably the simplest way of doing it, but it's not necessarily going to be rapid. If your models are on an SD card, like with the X20 here, I'd highly recommend taking the SD card out and putting it in an SD card reader and putting that in your computer, because that should be quicker than using the USB cable. But what we're going to do is just plug both of them in. So let's get back over to the radios. We'll power both radios on.
Welcome to ETHOS. Failsafe not set.
Clear all this rubbish, and then we're going to plug in our radios. So again, this just goes in the back. And on each one, we're going to choose ETHOS Suite. And again, ETHOS Suite. And now if you're on Windows, you'll have some drives pop up. So this is what has appeared for me. Now, for my radios, it's a little bit better because I've actually labeled for radios. So my SD card in the X20S is called X20S SD, and the flash storage is called X20S. By default, the radio that you receive will just be called radio or flash, which most of the time, if you've got one transmitter, is fine. But where we've got two plugged in, it could get a bit confusing. So what I'm actually going to do is take the time now to rename these folders. So I'm going to right click on flash and choose rename. I'm going to call this X20 Pro Flash. Too long, annoying. Try that. And I'm going to call this one X20 Pro underscore radio. That's too long as well, so X20P it is. Okay, so now we have our X20 Pro flash, we have our X20S flash. We don't need the flash storage at all, so we can close those two down. And now with the X20 Pro, we have our, I closed the wrong one down. We actually want the radio. If you had an SD card plugged in here, it would pop up yet another drive with the SD card that's in that radio. On that screen where we showed where the models are stored, just check where everything is stored on there, and that's where we're going to store it. So in this case, it's on the radio. The radio it's coming from is on the SD card. So now it's going to be really easy. Let's just go in models, and we can just click on what we want. and planes I'm going to rename, and we'll just copy them across into the radio. So line of sight is what I was going to call planes, so let's just copy that into there as well. So there we go, all the models are copied across, apart from these ones here, so let's add these as well. So there we go, our models have copied across, but hey, let's not stop with models. We've probably got other stuff on our radios that we want copied across too, especially if this is a new radio. So what else can we move? So if we go into bitmaps, we have models, and you can see this is not a complete list of everything that's on the other radio. So I'm going to copy all those. Windows to select all like that is hold down Control and press A, and let's drag those in as well. There'll probably be some that are going to overwrite, but never mind. So there we go, our model images are now copied over, so that will all work. Other things that we may have is audio, so let's check out audio, and we're pretty sure that I'll have all this stuff. Actually, I've got more in the new one than I have in the old one, so that's fine. If you wanted to keep your log files, you could copy the logs across. So I don't actually have any logs stored on this radio, but if I copy that folder across, then now I have the old logs too. What else can we do? Scripts. This is useful. If you've got the Lua scripts for your crossfire, ELRS module, anything like that, we can just copy that across. And there we go. So there's the scripts now on the radio. And is there anything else? Firmware. If you're storing firmware on your radio so you can flash your receivers, all that sort of stuff, we can copy that across too. So once this is done, everything that I want on the new radio has been copied across. We're done. We can go check it out on the radio. Okay, so we're back at the radios. Everything's copied. Let's unplug the USB cables, and
not set. Switch warning.
And we can check it out. Now, of course, nothing has been removed. So if I go into the model menu, you can see that it's all still on here. This is uncategorized, uncategorized. Oh yeah, so that's a model that I've added. So yeah, it's all there. If we pop in gliders, which is a folder that was copied across, it's there. Go to EDF. Yeah, it's all there. And all the model images are there because we've copied those across too. So everything is where we want it. So the other thing that we copied was the scripts. So if we go into our, actually it'd be the RF, wouldn't it? So let's go into RF. Let's turn off the internals for a sec. And look in the external modules. Now I may need to restart the radio actually. Yeah, so let me just restart the radio quickly. So let's go back in the RF, external module, and now we have Ghost, multi-protocol, crossfire, ELRS. They're all there and they will work fine. And the final thing that I copied across was the firmware. So that's in the system menu, go to file manager. You can see my firmware folder is copied across. We have all the different receivers, and so I can do firmware updates. I hope you found this video useful, and you can now transfer your models, images, whatever you want from your old radio to your new radio. So if you did find this video useful, please give it a thumbs up, and please remember to click the subscribe and bell icon to help get this video out to more people so they can learn how to do this too. And also you'll get alerts when I produce a new video, which may have something that you'll find interesting too. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I do appreciate your time, and get out there, fly your models like you stole them, and have fun. See you on the next one.